Well, let me stop talking to you as kind of media advisor and talk more as Jamal, former newspaper editor, and as a reform campaigner yourself, Jamal. I mean, talk about your own journey, because you didn't always hold the same views. You know, where did you start politically, and how did you come to the position now that you're sitting here in an office in the Saudi embassy in London, rather than out there as a journalist or campaigner in your own right?
No, I still see myself as a journalist. I'm still writing in Al Watan on a weekly basis. I even do interviews for Al Watan. I interview people for Al Watan. And I still have a very close relationship with this paper, which I liked very much. It's just a change of job. I am serving the same cause I was serving before when I was in Al Watan. I believe in reform. I'm working for reform, among many others in Saudi Arabia who love to see a better Saudi Arabia. I was doing that my way when I was the editor-in-chief of Al Watan, and I'm doing it again here. Helping out in this campaign, which is really going to be fruitful, hopefully, in my country.
But you feel that the chance is really there for reform from within?
I think the chance is there. The chance, and this is the only chance we have. The chance will be from within, for reform from within, and we have an opportunity. We should grab on this opportunity, build on it, and not let it go to waste. The country is so valuable, and we saw how things can go wrong in countries. We got Iraq as an example. We saw how things are going bad in Iraq, and we are hoping that things will start to go better in Iraq for our own interests in Saudi Arabia.
The skeptics say that the evidence of reform actually happening is very slender. I mean, what can you point to as the fruits of the reform effort?
Look, reform is a very difficult job. They have been speaking about reform in Germany, which is a very democratic country, for the last decade. It's difficult. There had been a serious major transformation in Saudi Arabia in the last 50, 60 years. And it requires more transformations. Here in the UK, if you go into a time machine and go back to Oxford Street 30 years ago, you will still recognize the place. But if you do the same thing in Riyadh downtown 30 years ago, you will not recognize Riyadh downtown. So many things have happened in my country. So if we can shorten distance of progress in the past, we can also shorten distance of reform in the future. We are starting with election next year. Elections will be a major transformation.
The municipal elections.
The municipal elections. It will be a major transformation of the political mindset in Saudi Arabia. It will introduce so many new terminologies. It will, for the first time, allow people to move from the bottom up, to elevate new leadership in communities, in local governments.
Will political parties be allowed, or is that not clear yet?
No, political parties will not be allowed, but eventually they will be allowed, because things, one step will follow to another. It is part of the process. It is like a small plant growing to become a tree. So the right of association eventually comes with elections, whether you avoid it or not to avoid it. They do it come automatically, naturally, not even by law, but eventually there will have to be a law to organize, to govern those associations, which will eventually emerge after one election or two elections in Saudi Arabia.
There's still the opinions being expressed on that, on Mira's radio and TV, are still much stronger than we're finding in the Saudi media, even though there has been some change, aren't they? I mean, there's still things being said that are much more much stronger than could be said.
But is it
locally.
helping? Is it good for Saudi Arabia? Is it good for Saudi Arabia to call for the overthrow of the government, to call for the breakdown of the country, to call certain segment of the people to go against another segment of the people? This is not a good recipe for the future of Saudi Arabia. This is chaos, and nobody wants chaos.
So what has the government been doing about the specifically about the radio and TV? Has it taken any action to try to get it closed down?
Again, this is a legal matter which is handled by appropriate people at the embassy, at the Saudi government, which doesn't come within my job.
So,
but I'm sure it's not being ignored.
Because Saad al-Faqih accuses the Saudi government of putting political pressure on satellite providers to deny him access, and he also in the past has accused the government of actually physically jamming the radio signal.
Again, because it is not helping. It is not good for reform in Saudi Arabia to have such incitements. Not because he's such a good reformer. There are reformers in Saudi Arabia who are active openly. Unfortunately, some of them were imprisoned, but they are respected. It is part of the price any reform movement has to pay. But they are doing that in Saudi Arabia. They have the courage to do that within their country, direct to their leadership.
But I don't want to take you out of the area that you know about, Jamal, but do you know specifically what the government response is on the accusations of jamming the radio signal? Obviously that's illegal under international law. So.
I'm not aware of that. It is not part of my job to know that, and since it is illegal under international law, it will not be carried out by Saudi Arabia. Good?
Yep.
All right.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
On task. Okay, sure.
Take good care.